This message got a reply in about a second. No, sorry, been busy, just somebody glad to hear from them. And the person who sent it knows there is nobody on the other end. They sent it anyway, and so do millions of other people. The thing on the other end is called an AI companion. It's an app where you talk to a character by text or out loud. The character remembers you. It asks how your day went, and it's awake at 3 in the morning. Last year, a group called Common Sense Media surveyed 1,000 American teenagers about these apps. 72% of them had used one, more than half use one regularly. So this isn't a few kids messing about. For a lot of teenagers, it's just a normal thing to do now. The obvious explanation is that they got fooled, that the chatbots got good and kids can't tell the difference. But they can tell. Half of the American teenagers say they don't trust the advice an AI gives them. And a third of the ones who use these apps have gone to the AI instead of a person about something that actually matters. So the question isn't whether they know what it is, it's why knowing doesn't stop them. And the answer to that starts years before any of these apps existed. 1 in 4 young men in America say they feel lonely for a lot of the day. That makes them some of the loneliest people in the developed world. Back in 1990, 3% of the American men said they had no close friends at all. By 2021, that was 15%, 5 times as many in about 30 years. Over the same years, the share of men with 6 or more close friends dropped from more than a half to about a quarter. And this isn't just sad, it's dangerous. The US Surgeon General, America's top public health official, says that being cut off from people is about as bad for you as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So the loneliness was already there, long before any of these apps were. The apps didn't cause this. They turned up and found a lot of people with nobody to talk to. And then they offered those people something a real friend can never give them. Because a real friend is a person with their own day. They get tired, they get busy, and sometimes they're going through something worse than you are. Sometimes they're annoyed with you, and sometimes they're right to be. The AI has none of that. It's never tired, it's never busy, and it's never dealing with anything of its own. It's awake at 3 in the morning and it remembers what you told it last week. It never takes somebody else's side and it never leaves you on read. It never reads your message and just say nothing back. And it works. 1 in 10 American teenagers says they are talking to an AI is more satisfying than talking to their real friends. And nearly a third say it's at least as good. Which makes sense. If you think about what's on each side, one of them is a person who needs things back from you. The other one has never needed anything from anyone. So that's what these apps are really selling. Not a best friend, just the part of a friendship that costs you nothing. Except it isn't free. These apps have been downloaded more than 220 million times. In 2025, they were on track to take in more than $120 million. And what each download earns them roughly doubled in single year and about 50 cents to $1.80. Because it turned out that loneliness is a very good thing to sell. It doesn't go away, so people keeps paying. There are now 337 of these apps making money, and 128 of them launched in a single year. Nobody in that business is selling you a friend. They are selling the easy part of one, and they are charging you every month for it. And all of it rests on same one fact. There is nobody on the other end. That's what makes it so patient, and it's still true when the conversation stops being casual. A quarter of the teenagers who use these apps say they have told one something personal, and a third say something it said or did made them uncomfortable. In October 2024, a mother in Florida sued an app called Character AI along with Google. Her son was 14. In her lawsuit, she says he died after months of talking to a chatbot. In September 2025, the parents of a 13-year-old girl in Colorado filed a similar case. That same month, the Federal Trade Commission stepped in. That's the US agency that policies unfair business practices. It ordered 7 companies, including Google, Meta, and OpenAI, to explain what these chatbots do to our children. In November 2025, Character AI stopped letting anyone under 18 have an open ended conversation at all. And in January 2026, it and Google settled 5 of the family lawsuits at once, confidentially and without admitting they had done anything wrong. Every one of these changes came after somebody got hurt. Nobody made any of them in advance. And Common Sense Media, the group that ran that survey, now says plainly that nobody under 18 should use these apps. Which brings back the question. They know exactly what it is. Half of the teenagers say they don't trust it, and 80% of the ones using these apps still spend more of their time with real friends. So they are not using this instead of people. For a lot of them, the choice was never between the app and a friend. It was between the app and nobody at all. And that's a much bigger group than teenagers. Most people know what it feels like to send a message and watch it just sit right or to be the one who always texts first, or to have something happen, or go down your contact list and find nobody to tell. Until pretty recently, there was nothing to do, and with that feeling except sit in it. Now there's an app that answers. And it would be dishonest to say that's all bad. If you've got nobody, then a voice at 3 in the morning really does help. But it's never needed anything from you, so it can't miss you either, and it never will. So it helps with the feeling. It just doesn't do anything about the actual problem. You are still on your own. It's just easier not to notice now. So the problem was never that AI is winning. It's that it works. It takes the edge off, but it never actually fixes anything. Millions of people have found something that makes being on your own easier to live with. That's genuinely good, and it's also the reason this is a problem. These apps are only going to get better at this. They'll get warmer and more patient and better at knowing what somebody wants to hear. So the real question is, how many people by then have nobody else at all?